The Middle Ages were not as easy as modern times, and several customs prevalent at the time ranged from simply odd to nearly sadistic. Are you interested in learning more about the past? See 5 medieval practices that will give you chills all over. 1. Hatred of cats. If in ancient Egypt cats were adored, in the Middle Ages things were not quite like that. For Europeans, this animal was associated with the devil and caused terror in the hearts of men. Pope Gregory IX himself even said that Satan routinely took the form of a cat. The phobia of cats grew so much at this time that many people even came to believe that cats were the ones who transmitted the bubonic plague in the 14th century. Therefore, it has become common for cats to be incinerated in droves, either as part of some kind of ritual or out of pure fear and hatred. 2. Divorce by combat. During the Middle Ages, divorce by combat was what defined whether a couple should stay together or not. According to the rules, the husband would be placed up to his waist in a hole 3 feet wide and with one hand tied behind his back. The woman, in turn, was supposed to be armed with 3 stones weighing between 1 and 2 kilos, each wrapped in cloth. The man could not abandon his position, but he could protect himself with a club, while the woman would be free to walk around the edge of the well. The rest of the dynamic is not well known to historians, but one would imagine that the trial would continue until one of the 2 sides gave up, or died before then. 3. Treatment of hemorrhoids. In the past, treating hemorrhoids was far from simple. To deal with this problem, medieval doctors used a heated iron bar to burn the anal wound, or simply used their fingernails to scrape the swollen veins in the patient's anus. At that time, it was believed that patients with hemorrhoids were victims of the curse of Saint Fiacre, a Catholic priest who would have suffered from the same problem and cured himself by sitting on a rock. Like and subscribe to the channel to discover wonderful things every day. 4. Strange foods. Finding minimally acceptable recipes in the Middle Ages is a somewhat complicated challenge. At that time, it was common for people to feed on beaver tails, chopped swan viscera, or even roasted cats. Many people even brought their own meat for local bakers to wrap in dough and bake. In the end, virtually every type of animal was synonymous with a feast for almost every day. The restriction only took place during Lent, on Fridays, when the faithful should remember the suffering of Christ, and on Saturdays, as a tribute to the Virgin Mary. 5. Brutal execution. In medieval Europe, it was common for criminals to be executed by pressure to death. To do this, the accused was tied up somewhere, and then extraordinary amounts of weight were placed on his body until his bones were literally crushed. This was a very old technique of execution, but it became an epidemic in the Middle Ages. In Southeast Asia, many criminals were trampled by elephants, while Europeans preferred to use large stone slabs as a weight for the method. What did you think of it? Share with a friend and leave your comment with your opinion on the subject. Oh, and don't forget to check out the suggested video.